Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Academy, your number one source for all things real estate investing and personal finance strategy. With your host, Tom Staub. Welcome back, everyone, to another podcast. So just to chime in real quick, we have a good lineup coming up here. I just recorded a few with some CEOs. I have a Navy SEAL one coming up that's really cool about how you take the Navy SEAL mindset and apply it to your personal wealth. And a few others too on tax strategy and a number of other topics. So a lot of good stuff coming. Looking forward to that. Also, be sure to subscribe. If you do subscribe, all of those that subscribe get access to our off-market deals. Next year when I create the event where a select number of investors get to go with me to either a beach or some sort of place like Napa where we sit down for a weekend and we hash out some investment concepts and strategies. That's only available to my subscribers, right? The ongoing content only available to my subscribers. So be sure to subscribe. It's free, obviously no cost. Hit the button below and be sure to join the group. So with that said, I want to just do a brief podcast today. Nothing major, but it's a really important lesson nonetheless. And there are books out there from, Thomas Stanley and Bill Danko, The Millionaire Next Door, and there's a number of books by Kiyosaki, and there's a number of books out there that talk about the persona of a millionaire. What are the common traits that make up a millionaire? And from my experience of growing my wealth and seeing what works and what doesn't work, it's interesting to apply all of that to what you read in some of these books, right? And after reading enough of these books, you begin to see common themes. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you are the key eight, either best practices or just personal habits that people who are very wealthy do. I think this would be a good indicator as to what you should be aiming for, or at least the habits you should be picking up if you too want to fall in that category. Okay. So the first one, it's interesting, right? Because I think there are definitely people who are wealthy that drive the Aston Martins or the Porsches and all that. I love to drive Porsches. They're amazing cars, engineering. They're phenomenal, right? I have a hard time justifying a huge purchase on a home. I have a hard time, and I don't think I ever will buy a Ferrari. I just couldn't get myself to do that. I don't come from money, so spending that kind of cash on a car is just bananas to me. My point is, but even doing so, it's a flashy purchase, and what studies have shown is that people who do own these kind of cars or own the big, houses, they're actually not as rich as you may think. In fact, they're probably more status rich than they are asset rich. The richest people tend not to be the most showy people. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So going on to the next one, and this one really caught me by surprise, but believe it or not, higher salary occupations tend to be an impediment to wealth. And what I mean is, and it's interesting too, because you find a lot of lawyers and doctors who, they're making good money. Software engineers making good money. And because they're making good money, they believe they kind of have it figured out. And they're not willing to really look at other ways to maximize their returns or how to use their money. And so they usually pick up some sort of high consumption lifestyle. But on top of that, they usually are pretty bad with their money. In fact, when you look at all the classes of people across the work spectrum, those with the high occupations, the high status occupations, tend to be worst or the worst with their money. And it's just shocking to me. And I can't imagine if you were able to couple the salary of a lawyer or a doctor with just some of the strategies that we're teaching here. I mean, the effect of what that could do to your wealth would be just astronomical. I mean, again, my lawyer that I work with, Dan Castro, lawyer by trade, figured out the way to invest in real estate. And now the guy's, sitting pretty, right? And it's because he realized, I'm not going to blow my money on dumb things. I'm not going to be, high consumption, just a waste with my money. I'm going to put it into the right assets and build my wealth that way. So but my point is, generally speaking, those with high salary occupations tend to be not very good with their money, which is shocking. Another one that, and I definitely live by this. I am definitely not one to go with the herd or the green. The most wealthy people, or the wealthiest people, do not follow the crowd. They simply do their own thing. They look for their own opportunities. They do things their way, and that's just the way it is, right? And I think that's very common with entrepreneurs as well. So the next one, the fourth one, it makes complete sense. It's quite the opposite of the first two. Frugality is one of the pillars of the foundation of wealth. People who are most frugal with their money and know how to be crafty and save and are clever with using their money, obviously are the best at building their wealth, right? But at the same time, and this goes on to the fifth point, the wealthiest people take financial risk, calculated financial risk. And again, in all of our programs, that's what we teach, right? How to take and how to calculate those financial risk. Putting your money in safe assets isn't necessarily the best play. You got to be able to balance some risk with the returns. And so, you got to take some risk to get those rewards. Not a crazy amount of risk, like a Bitcoin kind of risk, but you got to take some risk. Number 6, and this is from the Thomas Stanley, Bill Danko book, The Millionaire Next Door. The studies have found that on average, the wealthiest people save about 20% of their income. And then in point 9 on this is they take that money and invest it in income producing assets. Okay. And the last one, pretty big, is that most wealthy people are investing for the long term. They're not in it to get any one year home runs. They're all about getting the singles and the doubles, and over time compounding that to get the most amount of wealth. Okay. So again, the top 8 is most people that you see driving their Ferraris in the big status symbols are probably more status rich than asset rich. Higher salary occupations often are an impediment to wealth. Wealthy people do not follow the herd. Frugality is an absolute must if you're going to be wealthy. You got to take some financial risk. Try to save 20% of your income. And when you do, invest it in income producing assets, and make sure you're thinking about the long term when you do invest. So that's what I got for you. Hopefully that's helpful. And any questions, you can always reach me, tom@betterturnkey.com. And again, we just launched our new investor incubator program. So for those that are wanting to get started but don't know where to get started, we have it on our website, reiacademy.co. And it's about 4 hours of content. There's 14 lessons there. You get about $160 worth of tools, all part of the course. And then you get a 30-minute session one-on-one with me to talk strategy. That course is $197. So pretty good deal for what you're getting. Any questions, you know where to find me. I'll see you soon, y'all. Thanks.
My heart